Okay, so I'm gonna just talk about some deep stuff right now. I'm on my own. I'm gonna run through the Bible, and I have always had a perspective on life that I like to remain open to all ideas, philosophies, religions, any perspective on life. I believe I don't want to lock myself into any ideologies, beliefs, systems, or ways of being that would prevent me from being open to it. Say something came along and it was the absolute, no doubt about it, truth of life, existence, everything was proven, there it was, but I was a Christian, and say it wasn't the absolute truth, it was just a guide, say, like hypothetically, then what would I do? Would I be locked into my ways of thinking, or would I be able to expand my awareness to think, well, okay, this is the truth, and this is what it is, and we're going to heaven, and or whatever it may be that happens, or whatever. So anyway, there's a few things I want to touch on. I was at a spot where so I wrote quite a deep thing last night, and I posted it on Facebook, and I don't think many people like to read deep philosophical thoughts on life, because they just, they're stuck up in the rut of their own lives, and, I understand that. I totally get it. They don't want to have to think about the deep, fundamental philosophical questions that life poses itself. Like, what happens when you die? Where did we come from? Who are we? Are there aliens? Blah, blah, blah. What is God? And is there an afterlife? Blah, things like that. Not many people like to think about it, but it's something you have to think about, to expand your mind and evolve your consciousness. You have to think about it. Come on, you can't just live your entire life chasing money, or working for a company, getting stuck in a rut of stress and thinking about the past and being anxious for the future. So that's where I think the Bible and any religious book, I just happen to have a Bible on me right now. I'm just going to run through it. So it says in this one, are you alone, depressed, addicted, stressed, cheated on, experiencing conflict or temptation, considering suicide, or just curious? Or are you needing hope, peace, joy, comfort, purpose, forgiveness, God? Because it can provide you with those things, and it can help you for the first things I said. It can comfort you in times of hardship, and it can bring you happy feelings, like the hope and the peace and the joy and the comfort and the purpose, and all those beautiful things. Like, it's just a book of truth and wisdom, and I think it's great to, if I hear about someone that's reading it or is actually interested in learning about those things, that just makes me happy, because come into contact with a lot of people, and they're clearly not very aware because that is what I believe the singularity is, that people are starting to become aware of, that they're predicting, where so what they define the singularity as is it's like man or human being merging with artificial intelligence. But I just put up an Instagram story thing, and I asked Siri, hang on, wait, where was I? It's on my photos. I said, do you believe in God? And she said, humans have religion, I just have silicon. And I thought that was quite funny. The reason being, I watched a video on Jimmy Fallon the other night, and it was like he had a robot, a human being had created a robot, and of course human beings have created artificial intelligence, and we've created the majority of the threats that we face to our own existence right now. We've actually created those threats. It hasn't been animals, it hasn't been aliens, it's been ourselves. We're the ones that we created nuclear weapons, we created overpopulation, we created the over mining and overuse of resources of the earth. We have been responsible for that, and it is our responsibility to therefore solve that and come up with a solution. And people who have a positive outlook on life, then you'll be always thinking about that. What are the solutions? How can I affect the world in a positive, happy, loving, kind way? Which is doing exactly that, having that perspective, and the people you come into contact with on a daily basis, just having a positive influence or having a positive interaction with those people. And you don't realize how far that goes. That can really, the law of attraction is that. It's a law, just like the law of karma. It's a universal law, therefore it is true. Those things are true and they exist. At least that's okay. You might want to call it an opinion of mine, but I believe it's 100% the truth. As it is a law, it's been proven. There's things that are theories, conspiracies. Doesn't mean they're true. They're just theories. They haven't been proven. Doesn't mean it's the truth. Most of, the things in the Bible, it's the truth in the wisdom, and the wisdom in the truth. It's absolutely, it goes hand in hand. And just reading any part of it always makes me feel more comfort. No matter what I might be thinking, I'm thinking, humanity is facing a time right now where, so Homo sapiens, which is us, evolved over around roughly 300,000 years. And, we've evolved into the beings that we are now, which is very intelligent, but also can be very destructive, and when harnessed for bad or evil sort of thoughts, which is where I believe Taoism, or the yin and yang theory, to be a good way of perceiving things. What goes up must come down, sort of thing. So where there's good, there's bad. Where there's water, there's earth. Where there's fire, there's water. Sorry, I messed that up. But anywho, where was I going? I'm just thinking a million thoughts right now. But all I know is these are the sort of chats and the sort of things you need to talk about to expand your mind to. This is our evolution. We've evolved physically for pretty much as we're going to evolve. We are just human beings. We're not apes anymore. We're human beings, but we're evolving our consciousness, our minds. That's what's the evolution. Artificial intelligence will never be able to keep up with the expansion of human consciousness, human emotion, love. Artificial intelligence can't feel love, unfortunately. At least not at this point, and I don't think it will, because it was made by humans, and the complexity of the human mind and the human brain and the framework in which we are made is so incredibly complex that I don't believe I just don't believe we could possibly create any sort of replica that could come even close to feeling the depth of the emotions and the thoughts and the feelings that we as human beings feel. So, anyway, that's pretty much all I need to talk about the Bible, really. It's just a great book to go to. It's the most popular book in the world, and for a reason. The reason being it's comforting. And many people around the world, the majority is the minority. And what I mean by that, the majority of people are poor and have access to the least of, the rich people have access to just about anything they want because they have the money. But in my opinion, life can never be fully understood or enjoyed to its fullest unless you've been at the bottom of its lows. It can never be fully appreciated unless you've really hit the bottom. By the bottom I mean just experience the toughest of things that life can throw at you. How are you supposed to appreciate fame and fortune? Not fame and fortune, not that that's what I'm seeking or anyone should be seeking in life. But I mean, that people that are born into families who have just come into fame and fortune and money and have never known hardship and have never known anything lower than just absolute, riches and just easiness in terms of getting food on a daily basis, never having to worry about where their next meal is coming from, never having to worry about where the next dollar is coming from, how they're going to pay for their education, their anything whatsoever. They don't appreciate life. They don't appreciate life at all for what it is. It truly is. Life is to be enjoyed. But yeah, as I said, I believe you can't enjoy it to its fullest unless you've experienced its worst aspects or its lowest and hardest parts. So, and when I talk about the future, a lot of people seem to get a perspective of, they don't want to talk about it because they get scared for the future. It's like they think something bad is going to happen to us. Well, I was just talking about the law of attraction. Well, if you think positive thoughts and think that positive change is going to happen and you go out and you live life accordingly, hence, go out and affect people in a positive way, put a smile on your face, make people laugh, show love, kindness, happiness, all that, then you're going to get that back through the law of karma and the law of attraction. And there's nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear at all. Other than, in the Bible it says fear God, but that I think that just means be humble. Really. Just being humble, it just means, when saw Eckhart Tolle seminar up in Brisbane. He's the man that, the author of The Power of Now and those consciousness evolution books. And he talks about in that detaching from the ego and the subconscious and, human consciousness can be affected in a bad way, or the ego can try to take hold and get a grip of your mind, and that distracts you from the present moment. And in the present moment, there's nothing but joy and happiness and awareness, and just that's where the best things in life come, is in the present. If you're worried about the past, then you're probably depressed. And if you're nervous, anxious, stressed about what could possibly be coming in the future, then that's exactly what you are, and you're distracted from the now, which is all we really have, is the present moment and right now, in the here and now. And this is all the moment that there is. So just try and enjoy it, and try and, there's ways to tap into it. Obviously meditation is one, but if you struggle to meditate and clear the thoughts out of your head, because you go to meditation classes, I've been to them, and they'll put like it'll be just like a guy's voice, and it's a guided meditation, and you have to follow his voice, and then I straight away I go get like distracted and go down a path of thinking thoughts other than like trying to meditate and be present. I definitely experience those feelings through like things like exercise, deep breathing, having like a really cold shower, or shocking my body into like some way of just distracting myself from those feelings of the past, or anything other than the present moment. You're just fully in the now. And even if it's for a few seconds, it's better than, it'll help. It's like practice makes perfect. The more you experience the now, and experience you every time you are in a state of awareness and a state of presence, you're expanding your consciousness and you're evolving as a human being. Is that not what you want to do? Because that's like, I think, the purpose, or some purpose behind human evolution. Or that's our evolution as an animal. But anyway, next, I think I've brought up enough. But spirituality, I don't want to get into. Really, I'm just drained. I'm just quite tired today after my chat with my dad, but it was fantastic, and I'm so happy. I really am so happy that my dad and I had that chat, because we haven't had that many deep and meaningfuls. And the fact that we had that just showed me that he is, I was thinking for a bit there that, because he works for the government, he works for Main Roads, and has done his whole working career pretty much since he was 20 odd, and I know he's very smart man, but was he just a slave to the system of conforming to the government's idea of how to live a life? And I feel like just working the Monday to Friday 9 to 5, and I was just thinking maybe he wasn't thinking about those deep questions, or those deep sort of things, because we've never really discussed that. But today we had this incredible deep conversation, and it showed me that he absolutely he does think about them, and he's very switched on. And it was just cool to know. So, because a lot of older people, they're locked into their own beliefs or thought patterns, and there's no way they're going to change it. Like, they're just locked into them. That's why I like to stay open to all ideas and all possibilities and all. So anyway, that's all. Just a thought on some things. I'm going to try and make this a podcast, but I have no idea what I'm doing. But it's gone for 18 minutes, and that'll do for now. Yeah.